So you done worked a lot of breeds. So I'm gonna ask you this question: Is training just training, reading dogs, no matter what the breed, or is it? Do you need some knowledge of some working breeds to know how to develop a dog?
I think, in my opinion, the different breeds were bred for different things. So you have to take that into consideration when you're raising them and training them. For me, the Schnauzer is not a German Shepherd. It's not a Doberman. It's not a Rottweiler. It's a giant Schnauzer. The Rottweiler was bred for what it was bred to do. The Doberman was bred for what it was meant to do. The German Shepherd has its thing. The Malinois has its thing. So I think if you recognize what the breeds bring to the table and tap into their natural instincts and use those to your advantage. Basic training to me is basic training, but there gets to a point where you have to understand, what's this dog breed bred for? You take those old school Rottweilers, they'd be like, yeah, he's running away. How am I gonna chase him? The Doberman, you teach a long bite. You were on long lines, keeping them connected to you because they were that personal type of dog. So you did long bites on a long line to secure them. At least that's how I did it around, with the ones I had for the most part back then. You look at the Malinois. This dog runs on a high nerve. You're starting to see different mals nowadays. A little bit calmer nervous system. Depending on where they're from. I mean, I don't really deal with them as much as I used to, but that's a different dog. That dog changed. In my opinion, that dog has changed Schützen.
Yeah.
That dog, the Malinois, has changed where we are, and I think that it's positive and it has its negatives because you can't, when you're judging. I think, I'm not a judge, but I look at it and go, you can't have one standard for all breeds, especially in protection. Here you have a Mal who's, boom, he's just fired. Look at the healing. This is where the healing really changed because of the Malinois. Head straight up, and then they wanted the German Shepherd to do that. That's not normal for the German Shepherd's body.
Right.
You got one dog that's square and one dog that has an angle. Now it's going to look, it's a totally different. If you look at the two dogs, it's a totally different looking picture.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you end up with a square bodied German Shepherd.
Right.
And so then they got, I think a lot. So I think in that sense, when you look at all the breeds, yeah, you can pretty much raise them the same, but understand what they were bred for, tap into those things. Look at the nervous system. The nervous system of the Mal ain't like the nervous system of the German Shepherd.
Fact, yeah.
You take the Doberman and you take the Schnauzer, somewhat similar, but that Schnauzer has a